Good evening, everybody. If you are bored of the international break so far, then you are more than welcome to join us here live on the Dugout Villa channel. It is the Friday LFC Focus Podcast, and we have an amazing panel as always. To my right, we have Mr. Jack Mack LFC. How you doing, Jack?
What's happened? It's a good start.
Yo,
He's muted himself.
I blame the sound guy in the background. No, it's thank you very much for having me on, Doug, and I can't wait to get stuck into it. But hello, everyone. Hope you had a good weekend.
Oh my goodness, the joys of life, Stephen. Oh, dearie me. Right. Also, returning to the panel after a lovely wee break away is Mr. Connor Niblett from the Kop Council. How you doing, Connor?
I was almost going to meme that then. I was going to mime it, but no, I'm very well, thank you, mate. I wish I was away for longer because I wish I was away this week because it would have just broken up the international break. But yeah, I'm very well, thank you, mate. Thank you for having me on again.
We also have a very, very special guest, an aspiring young journalist for the Kopite podcast. It is Mr. Paul Connor. How are you doing, Paul?
Not bad.
Yeah, I already see one of your friends is in the chat. I can see as well. We're joined by the lovely Sophie. Joined by the lovely Sophie as always. How you doing, Sophie?
I'm good, thank you. Glad to be back. Another week done.
Absolutely. And we also have Mr. Daniel Hughes from the Mighty Reds TV. How you doing, Dan?
I'm absolutely brilliant, mate. Thank you for asking. Hope the millions of people watching at home are having a great weekend too.
Absolutely. Hello to Helen Raybold. Hello to Reese Ray. I'm sure this is not true.
Yeah.
Pause at Man United fan.
I was on about.
Jack intro sums up international break.
All Liverpool's transfer window, mate.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Big up Doug in the panel says Jade. Hello, Jade. If you don't like international break, support an EFL League 1 or League 2 club, as Chris Welsh says. Obviously, Carlisle United. Yeah.
Absolutely. You can, especially coming from Liverpool, not everyone likes the international break. Obviously, the England thing. I'm not going to support Rochdale just because I don't like the international break.
Yeah, that is very true. Right, let's begin. First topic of the agenda tonight, Jordan Henderson and Nathaniel Phillips. I'm absolutely made up for this one. Nathaniel Phillips signed new contract extensions. And my question is, Mr. Mo Salah next. Jack, very, very great news about Jordan Henderson and Nat Phillips. Was that a surprise to you?
Very positive news, mate. The news broke a couple of weeks ago that the rumoured, whether it was from Henderson's camp or someone deep within the football club, the news trickled through that Henderson was potentially not getting that deal. And then obviously everyone united on social media and obviously people within the club that very much respect Henderson. I think we all love him to bits. He's been up, down in terms of Liverpool career, but I think he's the captain. He's helped us guide us to the 19th league title anyway in 30 years. So I'm made up for him from a personal point of view. Hopefully he retires at Liverpool. That'd be great. Hopefully, given this season, last year he had a surgery on his knees and everything. So fingers crossed he can avoid any potential injuries this season. But great, get him signed down, retire at Liverpool. And that, mate, I think would have been very silly of us to allow Nat to leave the football club, given the extent of injury crisis in which we had last year, mate. But him and Reece fully do deserve it off the back of what they done last year, mate.
Yeah, 100%. Connor, I think the club have learned their lessons from last season. Nat Phillips staying as a fifth choice centre back. You happy with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, would have been over the moon for him if he had left and wanted first team football. If he's happy with fifth choice. And hopefully trying to play, try to break into the team, then fair enough to him. Happy that he's actually signed the deal. Him and Reece, like Jack said, both of them deserved the contract, didn't they? After getting us Champions League football next
100%.
Next year, especially with Hendo as well. Jack's just said it perfectly there. Being the leader for Liverpool over the last few years, I think everyone is a bit not downbeat on it now, but a little bit poor time from Liverpool on transfer deadline day, and that, which, look, it's just PR and whatever. And look, to be honest though, I'm not asked about it that much, but I know a lot of people are asked about it. But look, Jordan Henderson's down, Nat Phillips is down. Just get Mo Salah down. That is, of course, who's next. Mo Salah. He's the number one guy for me now. Get him done and dusted.
Yeah.
How long's he got left on his contract, Salah?
2 years, isn't it?
2.5 years, I think.
2.5. Yeah. Two
Yeah,
and a half, I think it is. Paul, I think we kind of all sort of guessed that Jordan Henderson was going to sign a new contract as well. But do you think the club have announced it really bad timing on deadline day?
Well, probably say so. Yeah. I mean, Henderson, it's a no-brainer. It's not like he's not going to get a contract extension. Like everything that he's brought into the club. Deadline day though hasn't been the best transfer window, has it? I cannot say maybe some reinforcements in there, but I'm happy, and it's obviously good news. But it's there's not really loads to add. I don't think. I'm glad Endo got the contract. Maybe not the best on deadline day, but yeah.
Absolutely. Sophie, I don't know about you, but I'm absolutely made up for Nat Phillips getting a new contract.
Oh, absolutely. Like I've said it many, many times, that lad deserves his place in that team. And if he wants to be fifth choice centre-back and he's happy with that, then crack on, give him what he wants. He proved 1,000,000 times over that he fully and truly deserves his place. He deserves it after what he did for us. He stepped up, and I just think he was so good alongside Reese Williams last year. Imagine what he's going to be like alongside quality.
Yeah.
You know, if he ever had to play, look what he's going to come at quality. And I got into a debate with a Liverpool fan on Twitter, as per fucking usual, because they were whinging that Nat Phillips had signed a contract extension and he'd sign with us again. And I was like, hang on a minute, come last January, you would all cry arse, and we would all cry arse that we wanted to centre back. Now we've got 5 of them and you still cry arse because you don't want 5? No, we've got 3 world-class centre-backs, and we've got...
Can't please anyone on Twitter.
And I was like, you need to give your head a fucking wobble, mate. You need to mind your head.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but we've seen firsthand. We lost Virgil, and we thought that would be it. We lost every one of our centre-backs. Sold Lovren in the same fucking year, which would just be typical. And then all of a sudden, you're now going, oh, no, I don't need a fifth choice centre-back. Well, actually... think you find you possibly do. I'm made up for them.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Dan, I suppose we're all happy about obviously Jordan Henderson and obviously Nat Phillips, but we actually have to remember Reese Williams, another one who stepped up to the plate last season, has signed a new contract, but he's gone out on loan to Swansea City. Do you think that's a good move for Reece?
Yeah, perfect, mate. Listen, if we're talking about he would have been 5th, possibly 6th choice centre back, there might have been a chance that maybe even Fabinho, if we got that desperate, might have dropped back there. He might not have been even 6th choice. So yeah, it makes sense for him to go and get some football. He played quite a lot of games, didn't he? Last season, he played all 6 Champions League group stage matches, didn't he? Or some parts of them. Played plenty of league games. There's no point now in him playing under 23 football. He needs to go out somewhere and develop as a player, and also develop physically. He's got skinny, he's got little skinny legs, and that he needs to go around and get involved in some proper football, play loads of matches. And in terms of giving him a new contract, it's just a little reward for him, a little pay rise last year, and also we're just protecting our assets, aren't we? In terms of getting them tied down for longer and potentially not losing on a free at some point in the future.
Massive step up from giving it to Hayes last season. Like, I think Swansea, I'm made up. He's gone to Swansea City, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, if that defensive crisis didn't happen last season, he might have been back alone somewhere in the conference. But he's stood up and shown his quality. Same with Nat Phillips. I was really impressed with Nat Phillips. Just no nonsense. Get his head on anything.
The thing I was going to say, Paul, as well, he didn't really. I read a few things about Mack LFC, and he didn't really excel that much. As much as you'd think that he would have needed to. But as I say, it's a good move for him at Swansea. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops. Whether he's got a long-term Liverpool future, I doubt it. but it can only help his development. We'll see.
Yeah. How old is he now? 20?
He's only 19, isn't he? But I might be wrong. 19, 20.
Yeah, I think obviously a few loans and all that, but he could well do. I mean, he's played Champions League for Liverpool, so isn't that Phillips? Anything can happen.
Well, the thing is, he was thrown in at the deep end against Manchester United, and yeah, I know it's obviously, inexperienced, but I felt he matured during last season, and I do think he'll do well at Swansea. I think it's a very good club to go to, and I think it'll be very, very good for him as well. I am going to go to a comment which I just seen, Chris, and I just want to basically spew at this. Divock Origi, come on down for your contract extension. Hell no, please no. And I'm pretty sure he's just going to stay out his contract. Sophie, are you pleased Mr. Origi is still at the club or not?
Think about who you've just asked that question to. Absolutely not. He's dead weight. He's just... I'm going to use the cockroach analogy that I used to Marco Groch quite a while ago. He's the cockroach now. We cannot get rid of him. We try. He turns down contract offers at other clubs. He just lingers, and he needs to not linger. He needs to be gone, because he's not. I understand there are possible reasons why he wants to stay. Like me and I think Dan, you made really good points about it last time, with his family are settled and so on and so forth. But that's not my problem. That's not the club's problem. If your family is settled here, then you need to find an alternative placement for your family to remain settled here. It's not the club's job. It's not their priority to make your home life okay when you're just bobbing money off them, basically.
I had faith in Origi starting the 19-20 season after the start in the Champions League and all that. But I mean, like the past 2 years, he just showed he isn't at a level where he can compete at Liverpool. He's not. He's just simply not good enough. I think for his own sake, he should move. But he's not, is he? It seems like he's fairly happy at Liverpool. I seen something today about Fenerbahce going in for them. I don't know whether any of you saw it. I feel bad saying this, because although he should go, he needs to go for his own sake, to save his own career, but he's a cult hero as well. Like I do love him like that, but he's just like he's not a good enough player for Liverpool. Like he's not a decent reinforcement. I think he was obviously bigged up by Champions League and all. Like obviously it's, as I say, the Champions League heroics, but I think maybe lower Premier League sides.
I think for me, like you've just said there, right? Like Origi was a cult hero, and we loved him for that, and I did. But his behaviour and his attitude and his work ethic since that Barcelona game has completely destroyed any love that I had for him because of his attitude now. Yeah. The way he comes on the pitch and just dawdles around, makes no impact, doesn't care, doesn't have an ounce of respect for the fans. Basically, it feels like a kick in the teeth.
How does he not have respect for the fans, though? Do you mean in terms of like his performances on the pitch?
Yeah, going on that pitch at Anfield and doing nothing. Yeah. How dare you go to one of the most successful clubs in England, go to Anfield in front of 55,000 fans and put that performance out? And it's not for lack of quality. We know he's got the quality, we know. But there's a difference between having quality and having a poor performance and not giving a flying accoutrement about it.
It's like Mario Balotelli, isn't it? I mean, you could argue that he had quality, but he just didn't have the attitude.
He was disrespectful and all. It's just rude. It's just arrogant.
Oh God! Don't mention that name, because that's the last player we signed under Mino Raiola. That's that's. We'll leave.
Yeah, let's leave him in the past.
Let's leave him in the past.
Stick him in the cup.
But Connor, Craig, Chris made a very good point here. We made our bet with Origi from 18-19. That's when we should have sold him when he was high. He hasn't been on the bench for the last 3 games. How far down the pecking order do you think he is with Klopp now?
He's the last forward, in my opinion. I think probably. I think we all pretty much now consider Harvey Elliott as a midfielder. I think Harvey Elliott gets ahead of Divock Origi in a forward position now.
Yeah.
And the other thing as well, you know what the others were speaking about, it's the fact that Liverpool, in my opinion, have overvalued him again this summer. We were expecting 12 to 15 million for Shaqiri, and Shaqiri went for £9 million. Are we saying that Shaqiri is worth less than Divock Origi? In my opinion, he's not.
Mm-hmm. I would have rather have kept in Shaqiri, to be honest.
Exactly. And it's like... Oh, go on.
Sorry to interrupt. It's Shaqiri's... He just never fit into Liverpool, did he? You could argue he never really fit into the system. I thought he was promising at time, but he was just never able to do it, was he? But I would have rather have kept him rather than Origi, because I just haven't seen anything from him, like, for a long time. I think he needs. I say my points again. He needs to go somewhere for the sake of him. He signed he signed a 5-year contract at the start of the 19-20 season. 5 years. That's probably we're only 2 years into that, aren't we? I think that's probably what you said. That's probably why we overvalue him. But it's just like awesome.
Yeah. I Jack, can you only see Origi potentially in the League Cup and maybe the FA Cup?
He's still done leave, and is the Turkish League's window still open? I know Pjanic just moved to the Turkish League. Is it finished?
8th of July.
Yeah, I've got a feeling he's definitely going to be going to Turkey, because they're snapping
8th of July. That's a long window.
Yeah,
8th of July.
Yeah.
8th of September.
Yeah, because I think he will definitely go, mate. And as the panel's already alluded to there, it's the fact that he wasn't picked on the bench signals from Jurgen Klopp and everyone above him, really, that the writing's on the wall for him. From his beneficial factor, really, he needs to be playing. If he wants to get back into that Belgium side, he needs to be playing guaranteed football. Unless we're playing Barcelona every single weekend, then Sam play him, or Arsenal in the Carabao Cup. Everton, he turns into prime Pele when we play against those teams that we just mentioned. But it's frustrating as a fan of us. We want Divock to succeed at the football club. We want nothing more, but he doesn't get the correct run of form given the players in front of him. He's not ahead of Jota, Firmino, Salah and Mane, but he needs to go out for his factor. And I'd love not more than to Div to move football club and bang in 20 goals in a league season. He's got that potential. We haven't seen fully that potential be unlocked, but it's in glimpses. He shows it within games, and you're like, there's the quality. But I think he will be going to Turkey, and most definitely.
Same situation with Danny Ings. Sold him to Southampton and then absolutely banged him for them. Now he's at Villa.
It's the injuries, mate. Injuries, Paul, and it makes obviously when he got injured against Everton, that absolute knobheads, that pointing at the shirt and everything when he got sent off and all that. Like that run of form, that period, Paul, and everyone at home as well, wanted that he was playing well up until that injury, and then injuries, like you mentioned with Danny Ings, really frustrated his career. And I think we will see Divock move. He's a cult hero, same as Jim Sayore. We got certain players within the football club history, but he will be revered around the world and in Liverpool, mate. He's very welcome if he comes back. We'll all get him thanks anyway. So.
It's like a love story. Like you have to let go, but you'll always love them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's it. Really.
You're out.
No, it's just a relationship you get with players sometimes. Probably because of Madrid. and obviously Barcelona and stuff like that. Like for those specific reasons, I got him on the back of my shirt that following season. But
fair enough.
Always love him.
Dan, do you see anything in this Fenerbahce link for Origi?
Well, they've been dismissed, haven't they? I read one of the sort of main local journalists today dismissed it, saying Liverpool have had no interest so far. But listen, I think Liverpool would be foolish to sell him now the window's shut. We haven't even got a 25-man squad, have we, registered for the Premier League? So what is the point in selling him? At this stage, I don't really see any. It's weird because normally Klopp... Normally, even the guys that aren't in the team, he's always saying, oh, he's in great shape. I'm struggling to leave this guy out the team. I'm struggling to leave Minamino out. You should see him in training. But Origi didn't even make the bench, did he, for the Burnley game? So when you think about it, that means Adrian San Miguel is ahead of him in the pecking order up front for Liverpool at the moment than Divock Origi. So I can only think Klopp's fell out with him a bit because he must have turned down moves or whatever, and maybe it's curtailed some of his transfer plans. But if he's here, I hope Klopp can in some way rehabilitate him. Listen, it seems a long way off, but it seemed a long way off with Divock before, hasn't it? And he's come out of nowhere and helped us out. So listen, I'd love to see him try and work his way back in. Whether that's going to happen, I doubt it, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed for him. Let's see what happens.
As we're obviously on the talk of Divock Origi, I suppose it's a good time to talk about the transfer window. And I've put in transfer window woes. How would you rate this window? So for people who obviously, if they have paid, not paid attention to the players who have gone out. So players in, Ibrahima Konate, £36 million. So there were 7 players sold on. Gini Van Alden went for a free. Harry Wilson for 12 million to Fulham. Malcolm Grujic for 10.5 million to Porto. Jordan Shaqiri 9.5 million for Lyon. Taiwo Awoniyi, who is absolutely ripping up the Bundesliga right now, for Union Berlin. 6.5 million. Camille Grabara. Oh yeah, remember him? The one that's criticised Alisson. Out you go. Bye-bye. 3 million to Copenhagen. Liam Miller, Basel, 1.3 million. And we have loaned Leighton Clarkson, Reese Williams, Ben Davis. What's the Ben Davis? Sorry. Seth Vandenberg again. Shea Ojo. Why? 2020, it's 2021 and we still have Shea Ojo as a player. Why? Just get rid of him. Paul Glatzel away to Tranmere. Jake Kane away to Newport County. Adam Lewis away to Livingston on loan. Louis Longstaff, Queen's Park. Jakub Orginski to Carnarvon Town in Wales. Very interesting. And Anderson Arroyo to Mirandes. And we've released Liam Coyle, Remy Savage, Yasser Larouci, Joe Hardy, Abdi Sharif, and Jack Walls. So that's our transfer summer window. Jack, sum up that window.
Crazy, mate. Absolutely crazy. That's why I haven't done a video in the last 4 days on my channel, because I just know the reaction everyone was fuming, weren't they? And obviously everyone's entitled to their opinions and that, mate, but I think always when we done all our episodes, we expected Liverpool to be as quiet as possible. We mentioned the contract announcements on social media. I think Jurgen Klopp, he's playing the long game. He done it with Alisson and Van Dijk. He waited for the right moments until we didn't get done for tapping up players. But yeah, it's we've got the players out the football club that we needed to, and it's whether I think Jurgen will wait for the right players, whether that's January. It's a crazy market to buy in January. I know we have done in previous years, but It's difficult. We'll have a Liverpool sign a couple of players on pre-contract agreements in January and then get them in the latter stages of next season, the beginning of next season anyway, because there's a lot of great talent on free transfers next season, whether Liverpool, Pogba, we're not going to get him anyway, but that players of those quality as well. Brozovic of Inter Milan as well. So there's a lot of them. And for me, yes, I'm in the back boat of really we could have done with getting that 1 or 2 fringe players to replace the quality. And as the panel's already alluded to, Shaqiri left the football club, but we've left ourselves bare in terms of when the AFCON comes around anyway. Yeah. I know it's 2 weeks. But that's a potential 6 points drop, potentially. But yeah, mate, in an ideal world, we could have signed 2 players, but I think Jurgen Klopp's playing a long game, as much as it frustrates us fans. But disappointed not to see new faces come in.
Connor?
Completely agree there. Can I add to what Jack said at all?
Go ahead.
No, no. It was disappointing. I think all of us thought, Konate coming in, it's the good first step, and then it was just like, okay, when's the second step going to happen? Apparently now we've got some sort of war chest in January, if you listen to Twitter, and that, which is quite funny. But no, look, Liverpool, like Jack said, Liverpool look for the right opportunities with players. That might be, a certain midfielder that we're looking at. I spoke with Jack a couple of days ago. Jude Bellingham, for me, just screams Liverpool. And it's going to be hard to get him, of course it is, but it'd be fantastic. But it's the sense as well where Liverpool, like I did a video on my channel, like Sabitzer apparently was a name that was going around for Liverpool, which would suit a lot of questions for Liverpool, but of course he was Bayern Munich bound, and realistically, the difficult position Liverpool are in is how can you improve the 11? You can't, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Or not even the 11, the 14 and 15. You can't. It's then the aftermath, and how do you go to players and go, okay, you're going to be our 16th, 17th, and 18th choice, to come at the club. Yes, it's Liverpool Football Club. Yes, it's the biggest club in the world, but it's hard to, cross that over to some players, and they might not want to do that. They might want to come straight in and go, look, I want to fight for first team football. I want to be within that, and maybe wherever Jurgen Klopp has in mind for Liverpool, maybe you do have to wait maybe a year or two. But look, I'm just confident in this Liverpool squad, no matter what. But I would agree with everyone else, and what everyone else is going to say. I would have liked Liverpool to have bolstered a bit more. Just one more player, and I would have been happy.
Yeah, Paul, what's your thoughts on the window?
I think, like Konate was, we got our business done early, didn't we? Really, I think when did we sign Konate? The end of May, the beginning of June.
Yeah, I think it was the end of May, and then I think it was announced in July the 1st. I think he was a Liverpool player.
Yeah, but as I say, we got our business done. I think reinforcements were needed, maybe attacking wise, but as I forgot his name.
Connor.
Yeah, Connor.
Don't worry, everyone forgets me.
I tried.
Oh no, there's not really you can actually improve on the starting 11. I don't think it's obviously just maybe another attacker would have been nice in there, especially with the likes of Shaqiri going and the whole Origi thing. But we've got Diogo Jota there, haven't we? So I think we're expecting very big things. I thought 40 million last season, especially because 40 million was pre-COVID, possibly 60 million, wasn't it? It was price. I think price has gone a little bit down. It deflated a little bit, hasn't it? Not necessarily in some ways, but yeah, would I like to have seen an attack in there?
Yeah. Sophie, what do you make of this question? What I'd love to hear from the panel is, did your transfer window leave you with enough depth given the amount of competitions?
Yes and no. Defensively, yes. Solid. Happy.
Oh, yeah.
With that. Midfield, again, happy with. The players we've sold off, people went into panic going, oh my God, now we don't have midfielders. Nah, I'm sorry. We had an over surplus of midfielders. We've got rid of the ones that never played anyway. So I quite like our midfielders. I think the front three, the positions for front three lacks a bit of depth for me. Another player would have made me feel a lot more comfortable, but
especially with AFCON as well.
We've seen this squad with less do more.
Yeah.
So, yes and no. Yes, it has enough depth because the depth is better than it was. No, it's not enough if we want to keep this run going for a long, sustained period of time. Not forever, because football comes in swings and roundabouts. But if we want to keep this progression going and keep fighting for top flight football, then we're going to have to eventually start adding depth. But I was listening to the lads' comments about the transfer window, and I get where you're coming from. I just disagree. I'm gonna be the hot topic of here, where I would have liked a forward. I would have loved another forward, but I've said it so many times. Who on the market this season was Liverpool standard willing to not be a starter at a reasonable price? Mm-hmm. Everybody was trying to recoup money lost through COVID. We saw it perfectly clearly in the transfer window this summer. Players went for extortionate amounts of money. That necessarily in a normal year, they probably wouldn't have gone for that much. Clubs were adding 10, 15 million onto the value of players because they knew people would pay for it. So, in that respect, I'm not arsed that Liverpool did that, because my biggest concern at the time was centre-backs. The quality of centre-backs. We fixed that major issue for me. Now that's fixed, you suddenly see a new issue. But there wasn't really an issue of that last year. And I would rather Liverpool, as the lad said, Klopp must be playing a long game. And if he's playing a long game, then I'm fine with that. Because I would rather you wait, sell all these players and get them out this window that we have done. Keep all that money. Get more revenue in next season. Fans are back, tickets. Build that money up. Recoup the losses from COVID. And then any extra money that we earn as a club can go in for the right player at the right time, as opposed to buying a player for 20, 30 million for the sake of having a squad number. That then next summer you go, shit, I've got to try and get rid of him. But we're in the same situation as Divock Origi. They sign a 5-year contract and you're stuck with them and they won't move. Yeah. And then we end up in the same position we're in again now, trying to shift all this dead weight so we can get new players in.
I think
sorry, one sec. This was not a Liverpool market, this transfer window. We saw Messi, we saw Suarez, we've seen Suarez went to give us already. We've seen, Richarlison's go. We've seen so many big name players. Ronaldo going back to United. That doesn't happen in a normal year. It never happens. So do you know what? Let those big clubs, in my opinion, your Real Madrid, your Barcelonas, your Manchester Cities, your Uniteds, let them fucking splurge their money and say, look how big and shiny I am with all my millions. And let's see what happens in 12 months' time when you suddenly start looking at your finances going, shit, I'm in the red. I'm not in a good place right now.
Liverpool's net spend the past few years has been... I've been writing an article for the Kopite about Michael Edwards, just fact-checking it now, but I was looking from the ins and outs since 2015. So Mane, Firmino, Salah, Fabinho, Wijnaldum, and then the offloading of Wilson, Jordan Ibe, Solanke, Ryan Brewster, Coutinho, and bringing Gomez as well. I think we only really spent 9 million. And I think that we run on a self-sustainable model, Liverpool, don't we? You could class ourselves maybe a little bit different to the normal top 6, if you like. We're not really ones to splurge off the cash. We shouldn't when we don't need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, what's your thoughts on the window?
I think we've left ourselves short, I'll be honest. I think that the big list of players that you went through that we'd sold, there was only Wijnaldum there who was worth a carrot. The rest of them I'm not worried about. But I think defence, as Sophie said, defence midfield were fine. I mean, some people have been saying, we didn't replace Shaqiri. Shaqiri played 360 league minutes last season, to give you an idea. I think Harvey Elliott's already played over 200 in 3 matches, you know what I mean, who never played last season, and that does attack a midfield role. But I think we have left ourselves short up front, to be honest with you. I think we needed somebody else. I know Sophie said, who's out there? But when we signed Jota 13 months ago, whatever it was, I wasn't thinking, Jota, he's amazing. He's the best player in the world. He's going to muscle into our front three. But he has done, and he did. And even going back further to Salah, Mane, Firmino, when you look at the club's official tweets when we signed them players, people were laughing at it, saying, who were these jokers? The Chelsea flop, Mane overrated, inconsistent. You know what I mean? So if sometimes the whole thing of Liverpool and Michael Edwards has been finding them little rough diamonds, and there's got to have been someone out there. I think the owners should have backed them. I know it's pandemic year and all that, but we're short. I think I'll be honest with that one.
Do you know what? I agree with you there. What again? Forgotten your name. But what you were saying before about who would want to come in for Liverpool and want to sit on the bench, it's those rough diamonds that Mike Edwards is able to then pull out of the mine. But I was hoping for one of them.
But wouldn't that be, if you're buying a rough diamond, and I agree, we have bought many a rough diamonds and polished them into absolute gems. We have done it and we will do it again. We will continue to do it. However, there was no rough diamond that was a potential prospect for Liverpool that we knew of.
I agree.
The potential quality. And that's the thing. Do you want to take a risk knowing everything that has happened? And you don't know whether Klopp's got somebody in mind for next year who's available. As Jack said.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Maybe someone on...
the people on freeze next year or due for contract renewals who could be sold and a contract clause could be triggered. Early release clause could be triggered. When you know that's coming up, how do we know? I understand that Liverpool fans were thinking the here and now. Liverpool are a business, a self-sustaining business. They need to think longevity. They need to think long-term plan. I'd be looking at going, well, hang on a minute. Who do the club think? Who are they potentially looking at for next January, next summer? Who are they looking at? Are they going to take a risk on this rough diamond for the sake of having a squad member who could be potentially amazing for us, and then we don't want that player? Or do we want to wait for the right player, which we know Klopp has done many a times with Fabinho, Alisson and Virgil, just to name a few. He will wait for the right player at the right time. Does he want to go, actually, I won't wait for them and I'll get this rough diamond. And then the rough diamond's great. And they go, okay, I don't need you. That would be great. But the downside of that is the rough diamond doesn't work. And now you're sat there going, and I can't even get him now.
The one person's name that's being mentioned like last summer and this summer was Harvey Barnes from Leicester. Now,
the equaliser.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, if we're looking at players like that, I think Ismail Assar as well was another guy being mentioned. Again, that Klopp took a look at and decided not to. The problem is with that, with Leicester, they're the best. Like Michael Edwards, they're the best at getting everything out of a club. Look at Manchester United with Harry Maguire, for example. They've done it, plenty of times with other players. Watford as well, just come into the Premier League. They'd be asking 50 million, I think, minimum for Sarr. That's the thing where, like the others have said, people have outpriced the players again that Liverpool wanted, and if Harvey Barnes was a guy that Jurgen wanted, he's going to be even more now because of course he signed that 5-year contract with Leicester. So it's getting the right window, isn't it?
Right. I'll give you my thoughts on this window as a whole. I don't think it has been disastrous as many people have said. The reason is, I think it's been Konate was a deal we all had to make because of obviously last season and the defensive crisis that we had. But managing to tie our main assets down, Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, I'm going to probably miss out names here, Henderson.
They can be as valuable as signings sometimes, can't they?
Absolutely. That's the thing as well. Liverpool are not a club that are going to go after an Mbappe. The people who keep saying Mbappe to Liverpool, please stop it. We are not getting Mbappe, right? We're not getting Mbappe, and I can categorically tell you now, Liverpool will not be getting Haaland. All right?
Doug, we're getting Mbappe 2022. It's happening. Hashtag Mbappe 2022. It's happening.
I've been saying this for Mbappe 2019, Mbappe
2020,
exactly. Mbappe 2022. Do you know what? I bet you it'll be 2050, and they'll be like Mbappe 2051.
He'll be a manager.
And the lad's been retired for about 20 years, and you're going Mbappe 51.
But
I'll be okay owned by then as well. So
I actually do think we have managed to tie down our are valuable assets, and I do think that getting these players tied to long-term contracts is absolutely fantastic. Salah will probably be next. I think there has been a lot of worries about the Salah potentially going next summer. I honestly don't see it. I think he's happy at Liverpool. I think he will probably move on at some point. I think the problem you're going to have is that Mane, Firmino, and Salah all turn, I think, 30 in their mid-30s, I think, next season as well. There's going to be a time we're going to have to refresh the squad. I understand that. There's going to be a time that we're going to have to refresh the squad. But if the finances are not there, then obviously COVID has really affected us. The talk about Michael Edwards leaving, that ain't going to help either. So, look, I'm not disappointed and I'm not angry. I'm just like, yes, I would have liked one more player. But this squad have done it for the last 3-4 years. Okay, last season was an exception. There was always going to be a season where we were going to...
Still did something extraordinary that we didn't expect.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I just like Liverpool shit out that he had at the finest. Alisson to score the winner at frigging West Brom. Who would have written that? Do you know what I mean? That wasn't happening. What was Martin Tyler commentating on that game?
Yeah, and to one of the managers we absolutely love to loathe as well, Sam bloody Allardyce.
Yeah. He's still bitter after this weekend's comments.
See, Doug, we've been spoiled over the last couple of years, so we think of last season as a bit of a disappointing season. But actually, if you look at the Premier League as a whole, our average finishing position is only 4th. So last season we got 3rd, and before Klopp come in, just qualifying for the Champions League was like a major issue for the club, wasn't it? I think it was 1 in 9 years. So we think of last season as a failure, but it was actually a sort of relative success, really, and above average, really, for Liverpool.
Well, to go on what Dan said, United had one of their best seasons in ever, and we finished 5 points behind them.
5 points above them,
yeah, and it was our worst season in a very long time.
I just want to have a look at something. Please continue. I'll let you know when I find out.
Pete Shepherd, who is a Manchester City fan and a very, very nice friend of mine as well. As an American, I love to know why each panel member is a Liverpool fan. Is it purely geography, or is there an interesting story attached to their fandom? My reason for being a Liverpool fan is my dad used to support them in the started supporting them in the 70s and 80s, and basically, if I supported another club in England, I would basically be thrown out. So that's why I'm a Liverpool fan. Jack?
What's your name?
Yeah.
Paul. Sorry, Paul. Sorry.
Sorry. Just out of curiosity, what's your local team in Scotland?
Livingston.
Livingston. Oh, is it? Yeah. Do you ever go down watching the games, or?
You see, in the early sort of noughties, I used to get to quite a lot of games. I used to be at Liverpool, Manchester United constantly, Liverpool, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Liverpool, Everton. There was a time where I was actually going down and we'd actually not lost, and then Blackpool come around in 2010, and that spoiled it for me because I went to that game and we lost 2-1 at home. So. Yeah, there's a nice wee story as well. I went to Middlesbrough away. I had to sit in the Middlesbrough end. That was not fun. They beat us 2-0. I've been to the Stadium of Light as well when we beat them 3-1. That was when Suarez came back from a long-term ban as well. 10 matches, I think it was as well. So obviously being in Edinburgh, it is trickier to get tickets now. But yeah, I try and get down as much as possible.
It's trickier to get tickets anyway. I mean, I live 10 minutes from Anfield, not even 10 minutes, and sometimes my dad struggles to get tickets. I mean, like there's a bit of a story with my dad. He's probably watching right now, so I like that. But like the thing is, my dad's been going to games since the 80s. He's a mad red. He's the reason I'm a mad red. But he's been to like Istanbul, Athens, went to Madrid. I was able to go with him, but he still struggled for tickets. Yeah. It all started in I think it was 2000. Him and his best mate they went on a season ticket list, and they were on the season ticket list for about 15 years until 2015. I think something came out. This is only from what my dad's told me, by the way. This is like, I would have only been, 2015 would have been, I'm 15 now, been about 7, 8, something like that. But yeah, he needed like this white slip. Like there was a thing where he could check where he was on the list. But they rung him up and said, "I can't see your name. Where's your slip?" And he was like, "What?" And it turns out he needed a slip, or I think it was either his mate had it, and I think it was his mate. His mate had the slip, but he'd moved out loads of times. But we've always I think he deserves to go the game more. I think. He's just but there's loads of people like that. I can't like there's loads of people who have got season tickets and all that who rightfully deserve season tickets, and like, don't get me wrong. I'd love to be able to for him to go and see the team that he loves more. He still gets the games through his mate and all that, but like that's how we got to Madrid through his because his mate was able to give us the Champions League tickets, and like an agreement for like if we got to the final we were, but it's just we had season tickets in the Kop, but like it was shared and credits and all that. It's just sorry for that, like proper off topic.
No. It's a very interesting story. But I'm going to try and get to some games this season, obviously. But we'll see, because obviously I know that obviously 4 out of the panel are Scousers: Paul, Jack, Sophie, and Dan. And obviously myself and Connor are the odd ones out because I'm Scottish and Connor's Welsh. So, but we do have to move. Although Sophie, you were checking something.
Yes, I did. I found it. Just talking like on point on how United had like their best season for God knows how long, and I was intrigued to know where they'd be placed in the Premier League standard in previous years. So in last season, Man City had 86, United 74, us with 69, 67, 66. If you go back to the 18-19, when we came runner-up, City wouldn't have...
I thought you meant the year then. I was going to say, you've done some research there, haven't you? You go back to 18-19. That's a long way back. Yeah, the season, sorry.
They wouldn't have even got in 5th place.
Wow.
I didn't click down enough. Let me go back to the 18-19 league table standings. I only looked at the top 5 while I was looking at the top 6. They would have just made it into the top 6. Like some of the top 4, 3rd and 4th place, even United probably may have just made it into 6, but that says the lack of quality in the last season's league. And that wasn't due to lack of quality players, it was just due to the circumstances. But don't sit there as United fans saying you've had the best season and you're the best thing since sliced bread. Now you've got 3 new players, you're going to be absolutely storming the league because you came 2nd last year. I'm sorry, but in every other league for the last several years, you wouldn't have even got into fucking Europe. Shut up. Remember who you are. Sit in your little dunce seat in the corner. Get your grubby little mitts off my fucking perch. And fight.
Yeah. I would absolutely agree with that.
That's United told that, like. I hope the Glazers are watching right now.
That's all right. They're
they
best
love
mates
the Glazers now again, don't they? Know, yeah.
All of them.
Oh yeah. Who said it? Jamie Redknapp turned round to Gary Neville, didn't he? He's like, last week you wanted to the stadium down, now you're naming your hotel after the Glazers. Like, make your minds up.
Absolutely.
Are they naming the hotel after the Glazers?
No,
I was going to say, bloody hell, the way they like, what do you change your heart there?
Absolutely. It was a fairy tale season Manchester United last season under the Norwegian golem from Lord of the Rings. I ain't scared of them. They're not winning anything. They stank the Europa League final out. Oh, dearie me. And no way in hell United wins the league this year. That's from a City fan. I absolutely agree with you as well. But there was one game at Anfield, and the fallout continues. Chelsea have been fined and charged for not controlling their players, and they are now making petitions about Anthony Taylor. Jesus Christ. But let's talk about the actual football, because I thought it was a very intriguing clash between Liverpool and Chelsea. I thought it was a really, really good game of football. Connor, I know we're disappointed with obviously only 1 point, but what did you make of the game overall?
It was a game of, well, first of all, the red card, I think, spoiled the game. Especially, as a neutral, if you're neutral. And I think for Liverpool, it wasn't the best timed thing in the world, with all the momentum we had, especially as the penalty and Mo Salah scoring. But, I think if anyone had said, a draw against Chelsea before the game, I think we all would have gone sound. But I think it was just the circumstances with Reece James's red card and, just hounding Chelsea in that second half and not being able to get the breakthrough. I just love the fact as well that Lukaku was in Joel Matip's back pocket the entire game, apart from maybe one opportunity. But look, 7 points out of 9, it could be worse. But look, I personally, I just don't get I get the frustration. I get, Liverpool not getting 9 out of 9, and we should have done. But again, Twitter, I just don't get the full meltdown. It could be worse.
No, absolutely not. Does anyone in this panel think that it was not a red card?
I don't know.
I thought it was. I look back at it. I was actually at the game. I was able to get a ticket, but he gave it to me. So again, if you're watching, thank you very much, Dad. I properly enjoyed it. But you couldn't see it from where I didn't even realise what was going on until the penalty. I didn't realise Reece James had been sent off till the start of the second half. The person behind me told me. But yeah, I know. I couldn't see. I think I was in the atmosphere and all that because it was bouncing. Sorry. Anyways, I thought if that's the rules are the rules. It's a red card. But I thought where it was on his body, I think penalty. Yeah, a red card. Harsh.
I'm gonna say this now. Letter of the law, it's a red card. The reason is James is standing on the line. The ball gets to Jota. Jota hits it. It's the movement of the arm that actually gets him sent off. If he basically stands like that, then even if it hits his arm, then it's still a penalty. But
I think it's simple though, Doug. Either way, if it's anywhere else on the pitch, it's not a red card.
It's going in.
Yeah, exactly. It's going in. It's going in. So it's a red card. Absolutely no doubt.
Yeah, I can't. Me and Sophie were talking about this constantly all this week, and we were like, red card, red card, red card, and then you see the Chelsea fans getting on Twitter. Oh, it's never a red. Oh, it's James was harshly done by. No, he wasn't. Taylor got the decision right.
I don't understand how we are nearly a week past this game and we're still having this discussion about whether it was a bloody red card or not. It wasn't a burnt orange. It wasn't a magenta. It was a fucking red card. Deal with the consequences. That, as Doug said, that is the letter of the law. It's in black and white in the rule book. That's what it is. Anywhere else on the pitch, like Jack just said, it would just be it wouldn't be a penalty. It wouldn't be a red card. It'd be a free kick and a warning.
How intentional was it though?
But it wouldn't be.
Sorry.
It's alright. Oh, look at his face. I feel bad now. I'm sorry. But it's it wouldn't have been a red card, but the fact that it was on the goal line and he's denied a goal scoring opportunity. So by the letter of the law, it's instantly a red card. It's instantly a penalty. But my biggest thing to the Chelsea fans who are sitting there are a lot of level-headed fans I've had conversations with who say, look, I'm not happy about it. It's harsh, but it is the law and it's happened. You've got to move on with it. You've got to deal with it. It happens. But I say the ones who are kicking off wanting, Anthony Taylor sacked and all that shit, put the shoe on the other foot. If that was, say that was Virgil van Dijk next to Alisson on the goal line, and he puts his arm up and keeps a goal out, you'd be calling for his head. You'd be going, defenders shouldn't be doing that. He should be given a red card. You wouldn't for once be saying, oh, that's not really a red card, that is it? Oh, no, that's not a red card. Oh, no, Virgil van Dijk should have stayed on the pitch that day. Nah, you'd be saying it's a red card through and through. So don't be sitting there through your rose-tinted glasses saying it's not a red card when, if the shoe was on the other foot, you'd be saying it was. It's the law. That's like going to the bank, robbing it. But I didn't use a gun. It doesn't matter. You still robbed a bank. It's still illegal according to the law. It's hard. It's true.
Yeah, I mean,
this is why I don't always go on Twitter.
Yeah, I think you're very, very wise to stay off it.
I go on it, but I don't speak to anyone. Everyone, there are a lot of proper.
No, but
you can't have a conversation, Paul, can you?
No, with no one. And it's sad, to be honest, because it's only like the ratio. It's only like the ratio people in the wind-ups that get all the followers.
Yeah,
you know what
you print screen your tweet and then get like 10,000 likes.
Exactly. Sometimes I think
you've got to find a little niche bubble. You've got to keep in football Twitter, but not be with teenage football Twitter, and then not be with elderly ones who are just rude and nasty. You've got to find that nice little bubble of people you get on with and just stick with it.
I hate teenage football Twitter. I think Twitter can just be so toxic sometimes. I wish I could go onto Twitter and have a reasonable conversation with someone like we are having now. But no, people just want to talk shit. Do you know what I mean? And it's just...
That's a whole video in itself.
I mean, I can come on here and have a conversation with people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, don't worry.
It's Twitter for you.
Yeah, football Twitter, honestly, it is a nightmare. Dan, what were your thoughts on the Chelsea game?
Disappointed, to be honest with you. I know Connor said you'd always take a draw at Chelsea, and I suppose that's the sensible way of thinking about it. But when Liverpool are at home, obviously not last season was a disaster, but over the last few years under Klopp, we've been spoiled, haven't we? You go to the match, I'm lucky enough to get most of the home games. You go there and expecting 3 points, no matter who we're playing, and generally speaking, we have. So I think that's 2 points dropped in my eyes, especially playing the second half against 10 players. If anything, it did spoil the game, and probably it cost us. I think if we would have got the penalty and scored it, and then played the second half against 11 players, and Chelsea would have come out and attacked a bit more, we I think we would have beat them. But of course, when Reece James got sent off, I wasn't disappointed. That was made up. But I thought second half we were pretty poor. There was a spell about 55 to 65 where we had a few long range shots. Van Dijk had one. Everybody else had one, but the keeper made a few reasonable saves and tipped them down the post and whatever else. And I thought, we're going to blow the house down here and get the goal. I thought it was inevitable. Yeah. But actually, from about 70 minutes, from about 70 to 90, we didn't really have anything. And we didn't even create a big chance in the whole of the second half. Chelsea were well drilled, but I thought we should have done a bit more.
Yeah, they definitely played well. It was just, it was that little, like, we were working into the box the whole of the second half. We just could not. And you know what? Fair play to Chelsea. I thought Chelsea played really well that second half. 10 men. Like, people are putting them up to champions. I think they did really well against like a team like Liverpool, who are also looking to be league champions. But it was just that little last pass. You know what I mean? You know that conjoins it all together on a string. It just wasn't that last one there. Like a lot of. I'm not comparing this, by the way, but I mean it was a lot like last season when we couldn't break teams down at Anfield. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. When we lost, it's that like sometimes it's just about breaking down teams, but they were just so well drilled. They were so compact. It was a really good performance. I like, again, Twitter might say otherwise, but you can't complain really. They played well. We should have played a little bit better. We should have played better that second half. First half, I thought the first half we played well. We did play well. We felt in taking the game to them, and then they got the goal, and it was a bit like, we were trying to break them down, and then the penalty. We got the penalty. That was the key, wasn't it? That was the key to get in. But then, right before half time, Tuchel was like, what was it?
Yeah, I think
he would have drilled it in, and like fair dues. It's like watching Atletico Madrid. I'm not looking forward to that. Like, you know what I mean? Apparently they've changed their style of playing from what I've read, from like quite a compact 4-4-2 to like a possession-based fluid 3-5-2 formation. So
it doesn't surprise me.
Do you know what? I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the group stage. It's definitely not easy, but there's going to be some big games there, some tough games. But I think we will prevail. We've got to be top-notch form,
Yeah, absolutely. Just going back to the game, obviously. So I'm going to go through all of you. Man of the match. I'll start. My man of the match was Joe Matip. I think he held Lukaku very, very well. And he's going home and he's emptying his keys, wallet, phone, and Romelu Lukaku. Jack, who is your man of the match?
Yeah, it has to be from between Salah and Elliott, mate. I know the panel's already discussed how the game, Chelsea. Thomas Tuchel's got this Chelsea side drilled so well, one of the best defensive records in the whole of Europe over the last couple of months anyway, mate. But Elliott, he keeps on performing week in, week out this season, really. A lad of that age, 18 years old, coming along against a very experienced Chelsea side, mate. So, yeah, I go Elliott for man of the match.
Connor?
Like I said, it was bloody lovely seeing Joel Matip pocket Romelu Lukaku. So for me, yeah, Joel Matip. But one thing I wanted to say earlier that I actually forgot to mention, I would have loved to have seen. I know that, Harvey Elliott, he had a fantastic, like Jack said, against Chelsea, and it's a big step up as well, him playing against, a Chelsea side that are the European champions. I just would have loved to have seen a Naby Keita or an Ox have a go at that Chelsea defence and have a run at them. Would have loved to have seen it. But
Naby Keita would have been really good for that game, I think. He impressed in pre-season. That's another one, Naby. That's a whole thing, isn't it?
New topic.
We could do a whole podcast about Naby Keita. There's some ideas, Doug, for next week.
Yeah, that would be good. Paul, who's your man of the match?
Do you know what? Sometimes I find it hard to pinpoint a player unless there's some proper brilliance in a team. That's probably just the way I kind of sometimes watch it. And normally watch it as a team thing, but if I had to pick someone, I'd probably have to go with Matip. I thought we did defend well. We did keep him out. The only thing I can say about Matip is that one time when he went up to Lukaku and committed himself just a little bit too early. But apart from that, I can't complain. I thought it was, on the whole, not the best performance. But I think the likes of Harvey Elliott and even the likes of Diogo Jota and all that. But yeah.
Yep, I would absolutely agree. I think the one thing that got me a bit Matip was just I think it's when Lukaku is in the corner, and I think Joel Matip manages to catch up with them, and because of Lukaku's first touch, that is like an elephant touch, honestly. Basically, Matip manages to actually get back, and he just basically shoves him out of the way just to say, get out of there, like I'm here. You ain't getting past me. Sophie, who was your man of the match?
Matip. I'm not even going to explain my choice because anyone who saw anything to do with my Twitter or the podcast The Following Day, he was incredible, and I will fight tooth and nail to defend that man because he had a stellar performance against Lukaku, and as you said before, Doug, he took 4 things out of his pocket that night, and one of them was Romelu Lukaku. So,
Yeah, as Chris Wills says, it was a masterclass performance once again from Lukaku against big teams. Oh yeah, did nothing. Dan, who was your man of the match?
I'm going to go for Van Dijk. I thought both him and Matip were excellent, but Paul made a brilliant point that I was going to make. I think before the game, the narrative was that Lukaku will try and play on Matip and try and bully him. And I almost think that sort of got inside Matip's head a little bit, and he was sort of trying to overcompensate by diving into things, especially in the first half, and a couple of times, as Paul made the point there, it left us a bit overexposed, and a couple of times we were a bit lucky on the break and that sort of thing, where Chelsea sort of missed the chance. There was the one with the Mason Mount one, just whisked it wide, wasn't it? And there was one where Lukaku was running through, and and it was a really dangerous moment, but he got it like tangled under his feet, and we were just lucky. But second half, I thought Matip was brilliant, but I think for the whole game, I'd give it to Van Dijk. I thought he was imperious again.
Yeah, Van Dijk had a good performance as well.
The thing is,
I think Van Dijk never really fails to impress, because he joins the defence together. I think he's just brilliant. Bro, I might have to get my charger one sec.
I think he's man of the match for nearly every game he plays with ease, and nobody would disagree with you unless he like went on the pitch, rolled around, and went la 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 la. Nobody dare say he doesn't have a self performance. So a lot of the time, as we all know, I love Virgil. I have to try and pick somebody else because the standard of Virgil being that good is just the norm. That I have to. It's like I go into like teaching mode. I'm like, you are always the highest child. You are always the greatest ever, and you're great. But I can't just give it to you all the time because these other children need some rewards as well. Got to reward the other squad.
It's like student of the week in primary.
Yeah, start of the week. Can't always give it to the same time. You cross the name off the list once, you can't go back to them for that term.
Yeah, that's exactly it, isn't it? God, I used to feel like it was insane.
Just this comment: Lukaku did it against Arsenal.
He didn't. Arsenal are a big team.
Arsenal are mid-table at best.
Championship team now. They're getting
well.
Did you see that video of that interview with that Arsenal fan? And he was like, "Oh, what do you think about your rivals signing Ronaldo?" And he was like, "Manchester United aren't our rivals. Our rivals are Brighton." And I was like, "Oh shit! Your rivals aren't even Brighton, honey. Your rivals are Tranmere Rovers."
Please don't judge Lukaku. Please don't judge Lukaku against a bunch of Rice Krispies in defence. Arsenal, I mean, by the way. As a City fan, I feel the same about Diaz. Right, because it's an international break and we have no Premier League game to look forward to, which is a bit of a bore, we're going to look back at...
footy documentary for me to watch this weekend?
We're going to go...
It's like... Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, we're going to look back at the Premier League. Balaam, I'm not talking about Scotland in this podcast, all right? I will speak about it on the World of Football podcast on Monday. Thank you very much. So, for the games last week, we had Manchester City 5 going on 7, 8, or 9 versus Arsenal 0. Granit Xhaka, absolute liability. Absolute liability. Jack, I mean, City got 5 against Arsenal.
Could have been 10.
Are you surprised Mikel Arteta is still at Arsenal?
That was an evil laugh. Yes and no, but it's their standard, isn't it? No disrespect to Arsenal, massive football club historically, but it's like when we had Roy, you just got to accept the moment in time in which you are. And as I said, it could and should have really been 10 if City had the shooting boots on. Some of the defending, we laugh about them going to the Championship, but if they continue defending like that, I said last week, my little niece could have defended better in that 6-yard box than they said Mari, and that was shocking, mate. And the fact that they went and spent about the biggest spenders in this transfer window, they've got really possibly Ben White to really come into that starting 11 and Odegaard, and there's a big debate between him and Smith Rowe really who starts, but they haven't really improved. I know from a technical point of view, Arsenal, and I've seen the comments this week that you want to get a young squad that can really develop under Arteta, but no, they're going nowhere. City, just the quality that they brought off on the bench, and it was the early kick-off of the week, wasn't it, mate? And that really set up the weekend, but Arsenal have got to be very careful what they do this year.
Let's put this way just quickly. Arsenal's goal of the month nominees came out. Okay, 7 goals were nominated for it. 3 of them were from the 3-0 win in the Carabao Cup. The other 4 were from the women's team.
I'm surprised. I tell you, if they didn't have that Carabao Cup, it'd be all the women's teams, and rightly so. Because
my gosh,
no disrespect to the women's team. It's amazing that they're in it, and kudos to them, great. But normally, when the males Arsenal team tweet goal of the month, it's for the male players in the male squad, and then Arsenal women's, they do their own separate one. But it says something for a club when they didn't have enough on either fucking side that they had to smush it together and go, yeah. That's poor.
P. Shepherd says, I'm not going to lie. I think it's possible Pep called off the dogs just so he wouldn't overly embarrass Arteta. I mean, it was 3-0 at half-time, Connor, but the one decision that changed the game for me was the absolute ridiculous red card for Granit Xhaka. I can guarantee you he will probably do that 2, 3, 4 times a season. What did you make of that tackle?
I was sat in the pub next to 3 Arsenal fans, and they all left after it was 2-0. And I was just like, yeah, it's
5 minutes in or something, isn't it?
Yeah, but are we really shocked by this? Like, this shouldn't be a major talking point. It's natural for Granit Xhaka. How many year contract have they offered him? Is it 4 or 5 years?
4.
He signed it, didn't he?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And look, it's like Jack said, they're trying to build a young team so they will be good in, let's say, 2 or 3 years time. The problem is
dinosaurs repopulate the air.
Exactly. The thing is, Arteta will be lucky to be there by November, let alone December.
He's getting sacked in the morning.
Yeah, it's the thing.
He's drying on the pink slip as we speak.
Yeah. The thing is, I watched like Doug, Diesel and that. I was watching them and just listening to them. It just goes, and you think it's just prime Liverpool 2010, like what Jack was saying, like back in Roy's day. It's just all of them are just fed up already, and we're 3 games into the season already.
Sorry, Con, everyone. What do Arsenal fans want and expect from this season? Like, they got rid of Wenger. He won all those Premier League titles. The amount of disrespect that they give him. And then they got Unai Emery. Give him a load of shit. He left the football club. Got Arteta in now, giving him a load of shit. Like so, performs. What do they want? And they want...
Process, maybe?
Speaking on behalf of my Arsenal supporting, sadly, husband, for him, it's not a case of the managers are the problem. For him, the problem comes from the staff behind the scenes. Like, he hates the owner because you can slate FSG all you want, but they've made us self-sustaining. They have invested in our ground. Kroenke's done nothing. He takes the money from the club. He bleeds them dry. They had to go to the government for a loan to sign players on loan last season. That's mortifying when your own owner won't do that.
That's embarrassing. Yeah.
And for him, he wants Kroenke to... He'll never sell, but he hates him. He's destroying the club. And at least when Wenger was there, he had a little bit of a fight back because he was established. He was a big name. He wasn't going to back down to him. He'd fight for what he wanted. Now these new managers aren't going to fight as much, are they? Because they're just going to sack them like that. They've proven nothing. He wants a new and transfer manager. He always says to me, he goes, I wish we had like our own Mickey Edwards. He goes, well, how's the fucking shit? They do nothing. And they just seem stagnant. He just wants to shake them up. But who knows what the answer is at the minute, because it doesn't seem to be a light at the end of the tunnel for the poor things, does it?
The thing though as well, whoever's idea it was to give Arteta, say now, a number 2 probably the biggest job in England at that time, and the biggest rebuild at that time as well. To give it to him like that is a tremendous amount of pressure for someone's first proper job. You give that to someone that's well experienced already, and it's like even if you was to give it to Arteta, surely he would have been prepared for it and build up to it. Like say now if Jurgen was to give it to Pep Linders and that, like there's been a progression there in build up. There's no build up for Arsenal, and that is where Arsenal will. They need someone that is plenty of experience. The problem is the only guy that's available right now, someone like that, is Antonio Conte, and he's not going to Arsenal.
He's never going.
No, definitely not.
Arsenal.
A wee start that I did see earlier. The worst start in Premier League history after 4 matches was Swindon Town with 0 points and minus 12 goal difference. Arsenal and Norwich meet at the Emirates next week, and both have 0 points and minus 9 goal difference. Dan, how do you see Arsenal Norwich going? I honestly, could be any score.
Got it. I know Arsenal are awful. They are awful, but they have, on paper, got some decent players, haven't they? You think might just give them the edge. I'm just throwing it out there because they've been awful, like some Aubameyang and all that, haven't they? Like I said, they've been crap, but they are big name players, and you sort of think that just might tip the balance and they might get a result against Norwich. Is it at the Emirates?
It's at the Emirates, yeah.
Yeah, I think Arsenal, they'll get a result there. They'll scratch one out. Might just be there by the odd goal.
Yeah, I think
the form Arsenal are on. If we don't go there and batter them, I am going to be really. If we come out with a 1-0 win or a draw, I will be fuming. I need at least.
It depends when we play them, though, doesn't it? I was thinking last week. I wish we were playing them soon, but I don't know when we are. They might have bottomed out by then and be on the way back up.
Don't be silly. It's been 4 years, and they're on the way down. They're on a downwards trajectory, and it ain't coming up.
When is it? Sorry.
I'm just
20th of November, I think. That's the one, I think. Is it? I think I'm meant to be on something.
Well, I mean, if they stick faith with Arteta and don't sack him, then I presume they'll still be easy pickings. Obviously, if they decide to sack him and they sort of have a bit of a renaissance, we'll wait and see. It's still a little while off, and it's 20th of November.
Sorry, Jay Hurst has asked me to look at the IMDb description of the All or Nothing. What I've found is Amazon Prime's next instalment of the popular sports docu-series follows the London-based football club Arsenal over the 21-22 season. Oh dear.
Someone said that.
Do you know what? That'd be an interesting watch. I mean, if depending on how the season goes, and especially the way it's going now for Arsenal, I'd probably be watching that.
The Spurs one was good, wasn't it? The Spurs one was enjoyable, especially when it started off with the fallout of the Champions League final. That was brilliant. I really enjoyed that bit.
I'm sure you like that the best, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a lot. We just watched that little bit on repeat.
Yeah, definitely. Other results this weekend. Aston Villa 1, Brentford 1. Connor, Brentford have started the season really well. 5 points from their first 3 games. They remind me of Huddersfield Town vibes, because they actually had the same number of points at this stage in their first season. How far do you think Brentford could go this season?
I'm not going to lie, this is the first time I've properly looked at the results, because I haven't looked this week. Brentford, it depends for me on Tony. If he can, as Jack's best mate, it's as long as if he carries the goals, then I think they'll be fine. I think they'll finish 14th, 15th, but it's, again, if he can continue to do it, because, well, we saw this time last year with, 2 years ago with Pukki and Norwich, how well he did it at the start of the season, and then he just declined massively. And then, of course, Norwich went down. So time will tell, but I hope they stay up because, to be fair, they do play entertaining football.
Yeah. To Jack's mate, Tony. He's a fantasy football favourite, Ivan, Tony.
Yeah, I love him, mate. And I tell you, will it be Aston Villa or someone else that really, if he does keep them in the Premier League and he gets at least 10, 15 goals, there were a lot of clubs sniffing around him, because there's one thing not a lot of sides have, is a natural goal scorer.
Yeah.
Liverpool.
Yeah, you never know, mate.
Just putting that up in the air.
Yeah, he's still a young player as well, so he's got a lot of development. And I think Ajer from Celtic as well that he signed, and obviously Pontus Jansson from Leeds. They've got a lot of leadership qualities. And when he played against Arsenal, everyone was like, "Oh, Brentford have just won," but they absolutely tore them to bits. And Liverpool's ex-man as well, Canos. They've got a lot of very good.
He started the season really well.
They'll stay in the Prem.
I think so. Dan, Brentford, you been impressed with them?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. When Liverpool don't get a great result, don't watch much of the, pay much attention to the other results. I'll be honest with you, kind of like cut myself off from footy for the week. But 5 points on the first 3 games is great, isn't it? I think, I'm sure come the end of the season, they'll sort of flatten off a bit. Normally happens. Normally some of the promoted team, they come up with a bit of a swagger and get a few results early on. We've seen it before, Blackpool, teams like that. By the end of the season, I think they'll drop down. I'm sure right now they'd be absolutely delighted with 17, but decent start for them.
Yeah, Sophie, Brighton 0, Everton 2. This is deja vu from last season, isn't it? Everton started really well after 4 games. Everyone's saying, "Oh, we've won the league in October." And then all of a sudden, their form just dipped. Are we seeing a bit of a repeat this season?
Well, probably, most likely, definitely, yeah. But I had this discussion with my dad actually about Everton's style of play so far. I don't know, we're only 3 weeks in, but they have drastically changed the way in which they're playing football. They are playing, ironically, the Liverpool way. That has changed the way they are playing football. It's not exactly the Liverpool way because they're still going to fuck it up. But he's got them working a bit better as a team. He's got them more fluid. He's got them accurate crosses in rather than spamming it for the sake of it. They used to run around like a headless chicken. Like it being cut off, it was just wallowing around the pitch. At least now there's a little bit of purpose to it, and they've got a manager on the sidelines who knows what he's doing and is, articulating himself in his box. However, Everton, for me, don't have the work ethics to maintain that. And it will very soon flatline. But I just keep taking absolute enjoyment in the fact that these bitter blue-nosed gobshites are all going, we're doing so well. And I'm like, yeah, because you're playing the Rafa way, which is ironically the Liverpool way. You are basically the Liverpool reserves at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I mean, no, they're below them because we beat them in the FA Cup, didn't we?
Oh yeah, actually, yes, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jack, I'll give you this one: Newcastle 2, Southampton 2. If anyone's had a worser window than Liverpool, I would probably say it's Newcastle.
The meltdown after that game. I think St. Maximum even released a tweet. I was going to say statements. It might as well have been a statement. It's the most Newcastle thing. I know it's come off the back of Everton, but those two clubs, all they had to do was defend for 30 seconds, and they couldn't even do that. Steve Bruce, just get everyone behind the ball. I hopefully Liverpool in a couple of windows, Sam, do nab St. Maximum off them, because he's just get that man out of Newcastle, because he deserves a lot more.
He's class, isn't he? He is absolutely class.
Yeah, good player.
Yeah, but it's frustrating from them.
I'm actually going to try and look at, because Newcastle actually brought out a statement earlier, which I thought was absolute, but in the nicest of terms, horse shit, by saying Newcastle United would like to provide supporters with an update in relation to the approach taken to summer transfer window. I won't read all of it because obviously we are on time constraints, but it says our commitment to being run in a sustainable manner which secures the financial viability of the club is a long-standing one. This does not come at the expense of being ambitious, and it is built on the core principle that we will spend what we have. Right, okay. The cash generated each year through match day and non-match day activities plus any transfer fees received from player sales determines how much is available to spend. This relates not only to first-team play and squad expenditure, but to all other areas of the club. In simple terms, there's one pot of money, and spending in one area reduces the amount available for others. In a normal year, our operating model would generate sufficient funds to enable us to make 1 or 2 quality first-team additions as well as invest in other areas. This approach takes time and requires careful management and long-term planning, ensuring that we spend the money we generate wisely to benefit the club. Last 2 years have been challenging, with COVID-19 having considerable impact on the club's finances and therefore the amount of cash we have available to spend. Eternally, all parties have long been aware of the budgetary parameters under which we are operating as well. The deal to bring Joe Willett to the club was formally completed on Friday the 13th of August 2021, and we are beyond delighted to have secured him.
I think I think Newcastle. I think all their transfer windows will be negative until Mike Ashley goes, and that'll probably be a successful transfer window.
Sports Direct had a record profit season as well with lockdown, so they mustn't have sold enough Sports Direct mugs. So Mike Ashley's a bit fuming there, like, but yeah, them and Arsenal need to get behind the motion of getting their owners out, because all the Newcastle fans, from what I've seen, we made Dodge, they don't really want them out the football club. Like, can you see what they're doing to the football club? They need a proper outing of Mike Ashley, because he's happy to collect all his millions and that.
If I can just add something in quickly there. Have you seen, I read this in The Athletic. I think one of the journalists in The Athletic is contributing to this, but you ever heard of the NUFC Trust? Like an organisation of, it's like Newcastle fans they've joined together, and it's they're doing this thing where they're like trying to slowly buy Newcastle. So like they're raising money each month, getting donations in from other Newcastle fans, and slowly getting like at the very start 1% ownership, and then 3, 5, 10, 15. But that'd be a gradual process. Like, but I've seen that, and hopefully for them, it's something we can. It's something they can benefit from. It's like spirit of Shankly, more fan engagement with Liverpool. Hopefully that's. I haven't heard much about that actually. I haven't heard much news about that, but there's been stuff about like what was it called? Like the golden something. I forgot it now. But like the golden voice or something like that FSG were going to provide to the.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I want to hear more about that fan engagement, because I think it was like with the Super League, it was all up there. Do you know what I mean? Because it's kind of died down now. I haven't heard much, if anything, about fan engagement.
Yeah, it's. I feel for Geordies, I really do, but unfortunately, you've got one of the rubbishest owners of the football club, and Mike Ashley, he doesn't give a monkeys about Newcastle. I'm sorry, he just doesn't. Other games: Norwich 1, Leicester City 2, and West Ham 2, Crystal Palace 2. Connor, West Ham have started the season very well, haven't they?
Yeah, starting off where they ended last year. And look, we spoke about owners, West Ham, and another club with very, very shitty owners. But no, look, David Moyes is doing a fantastic job at West Ham, and I hate to say that because he's a former Manchester United manager. But look, Antonio, they've been screaming for a striker all summer. And Mikel Antonio is that striker apparently. I think I read today he has the most shots in the Premier League so far. I think he's like 5 ahead of Mo Salah, which is second, which we all know Mo likes to shoot. But look, against Palace, it was 2 points dropped for them, because they should have won that game clearly. But you know, they've done well so far, and I can see them definitely being around Leicester, in fighting for those Europa League spots anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I think the one thing I would worry about West Ham is probably Europa League. I think that's probably one of their Achilles heel. We saw what happened to, I think, with Burnley, and their form just plummeted. So hopefully it doesn't happen to. Hopefully it doesn't see. Hopefully it doesn't happen with West Ham. But Leicester City, Sophie, another very good victory for Brendan Rodgers and Leicester. Do you see them being very close to us this season?
Do you know what? I don't think you can really predict the season this year. And I think 3 games in I'd be foolish to say I can see them coming close to us, etc. like that. Leicester have the potential to be very good. We've seen them last season. We've seen them seasons prior. They do play really good football. But when you're looking at, the big teams this year, you've got us, City, United, Chelsea, Leicester,
United.
Fucking hate them.
United.
Can we just call them them instead of United?
Those among us.
They who shall not be named.
Yeah, of course.
I just
Of course.
I just think it's too early in the season to say where I think people are going to be, who I think are going to give us problems. You can only go off historically, and I think historically, yes, Leicester have been known to give us problems, but then equally, we've gone to King Power Stadium on Boxing Day and battered them. But then they've taken points from us last season, and they're never a team to write off. They could end up close to us. They could fall off. It's too early for me to say. It
is way too early.
I agree. Yeah.
I think if 3 weeks in, you're going, oh yeah, we're going to be top of the league and we're going to win it, United.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this now. A Burnley player has scored the 30,000th Premier League goal.
Won't be Chris Woods,
Go on, Chris Wood.
It is Chris Wood. Chris Wood scored the 30,000th Premier League goal, and he will not score an easier goal. Basically, it was a mishit shot from, I think, it was Bashley Barnes, and went straight to Wood, and Mesley does get a touch and it goes into the back of the net, but Patrick Bamford equalised for Leeds United in a 1-1 draw. Not really much to talk about that game anyway, because Burnley's Burnley. And Tottenham 1, Watford 0. Dan, 9 points out of 9 so far for Nuno Espirito Santo, all by 1-0. Sophie says it's too early to obviously say how well teams are doing, but Spurs, they may have got a gem of a manager in Nuno.
I think Nuno's a decent manager. Listen, I think Tottenham have had a good start. And listen, it's a better start than I expected them to have. I don't rate them, to be honest with you. I don't rate them at all. And I think the whole thing with Kane, was obviously a bit, disaster. Thought he was going to leave. He's obviously staying now. He's unhappy. Listen, I don't see them as being a threat. Listen, if Liverpool have any sort of luck this season with injuries, it'll be us and Man City. Forget the rest. Leicester won't even come into it. Tottenham won't come into it. Man United will have a good season. They'll probably get third. It just depends on us and City, really. But Tottenham, fair play to them. Three wins at the start of the season. Can't argue with that, especially with the 3 clean sheets. But I think they'll level off. I'd be confident if we played Tottenham home or away tomorrow, we'd turn them over.
Do you not think with Spurs, it's like, yeah, they've got an amazing manager in Nuno, and they'll stop playing that park bus football that Mourinho got them playing. And
that wasn't their first choice manager, though, was it? It took a few, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a fast, wasn't it?
Nuno's a really good manager, and I do like him a lot. I like him a lot at Wolves. I hated playing against Wolves because it's tactically minded, is very similar. So I think they're going to give people a little bit more problems than we anticipate. However, there's a lot of distension within the ranks. And you can have a world-class manager, but if your captain refuses to turn up to training and spits his dust out the fan like a petulant child every 5 seconds, doesn't really look good for the rest of the morale for the team, does it?
Well, he's a media darling, isn't he? He's a media darling.
Bloody buffoon. That's what he is. He needs a bib.
Yeah. He was hugging all of his players, his teammates. Did you see that? That was so awkward.
Like nothing's happened.
The players were
wanting to leave. He's been wanting to leave all summer. And he tweeted, what was it? Oh yeah, 3 wins out of 3, great start to the season, as if nothing's happened.
Yeah, no.
Don't worry for Gary Neville.
I will be staying at Tottenham this season, this
For
summer.
now.
I'm touched by the outpouring of love that I've had from fans, and I'm like, hang on a minute, what are you? Can you not read? Are you reading backwards, honey? And then there was another one where it was like, Harry Kane wants to leave Tottenham, and they ended up asking him to put it in writing, and he was like, I guess I'm staying there.
Sorry, Reese. It's Gary Neville Saint Premier League Pilland. That's how it is.
Oh gosh, but yeah, and the final game we are going to talk about. Yes, they did win 1-0, but I have to say I thought they were absolutely diabolical against Wolves. I thought if Wolves had a striker that could actually finish, they would have won that game probably 4-1.
Yeah,
without a shadow of a doubt.
They got torn apart by Wolves in the first 5, 10, 20 minutes. It was ridiculous. Like, Varane, sort of like, who were playing alongside here, Maguire. But yeah, they got absolutely destroyed by Wolves. And great, United fans, it's this process of United winning 3 games on the bounce. They'll lose 1, they'll draw 1, win 5 on the bounce, lose a couple here and there. But the longer it keeps Ollie in a job, the better, because frankly, they won't win a trophy under him. Might do, Carabao Cup, but the fact that he's not getting a singing tune out of all these quality players. Man United have got good individual players, and they've got Ronaldo. And the fact of the matter, Ronaldo will basically be managing this United team this season. You think he's really going to listen to Ollie? He'll look at Ollie and go, "Who are you?"
Yeah, this season for United, I think it's now or never. I think if he doesn't do much this season, then they'll definitely be looking to replace him. A lot of people have been Ollie out, but like from again outsider's perspective, like what I've always thought, maybe trust the process a little bit. Like Alex Ferguson took 4 years to win Liverpool, to win United the trophy, the FA Cup in 1992, something like that. And it took Klopp 4 years, Champions League. But there's still. Again, it's a hard one because they're not exactly winning silverware, or are they? Like domestically, I mean, like in terms of the league, they're not winning or really challenging for silverware. Like they nearly won the Europa League last season, but
nearly.
It's trusting the process, and then the process is like, bloody hell, this process is taking a while.
Yeah,
Chris Welsh, it's finding that balance.
Chris Welsh, Adama Chore's end product is as shocking as YouTuber's boxing. How many times did he run at that Manchester United backline, and then his end product, his final ball, just let him down?
It'd be £100 million player if he could actually finish.
Yeah,
I know. I thought Traore would always be like if again the end product lets him down, but I always thought Traore would be good for Liverpool. He'd offer something different there, but his end products, like he can run through 3, 4, 5, 6 players, but then guidance. But if he skies it into rosettes, what's the point in having them? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just it lets him down because he is on the ball, and like physically he is such a good player. It's that final.
It's that final ball. We will come on to the big talking point, because Manchester United obviously scored a goal, but was it a foul on Ruben Neves? Connor, what did you make of the challenge on Ruben Neves?
I think this is going to sound stupid, but I know the Xhaka one is more, dangerous. If the Xhaka one's a red, then the Pogba one should be a foul and a red card, in my opinion. I haven't seen the replays back of it, but at the time I just had like United fans around me just like shouting and screaming and just like hoping and praying it wasn't going to be given as a foul. I thought it was a foul from what I saw first of all, but it's again like United get away with one again?
It's because Fergie was in the stands. Fergie was literally in the stands. Did you see him? They kind of panned to him and he's fuming. I was like, it's the only guy. That man, what a legendary manager. It's sad that he managed Man United, but it's still petrified of him, like 5-10 years after he's retired. I'm like,
I think if Neves goes down when he's actually touched by Pogba, then I think the referee's got a decision to make. The fact that he actually went and said, "Oh, ref, I've been fouled," and then he actually goes down. I
hate
think that's taken away from it.
I hate that narrative though, of the fact that the player has to go down straight away. How many times have we seen people getting criticised for doing exactly that? Going down and shouting and screaming and that. And a one-time player actually goes, look, and then goes and, does it. Like, why are we shocked by this?
I'm not disputing that, but I felt that Neves was way too honest. I think he should just, if he's fouled, then just I'm not saying obviously play acting, but I'm not saying play acting, but you just. Pogba's lost the ball. It's a really bad touch from Pogba, and he slides in. Yes, obviously, I know Graham Souness has said that it was a leg breaker. I mean, I honestly don't know what to make of that, but if you actually look at the goal, Wolves actually didn't play until the whistle. You always play to the whistle. Just don't give up. And to be fair to Greenwood, it's a fantastic finish. I think Jose Sa should be doing a lot better as well. But it's a very good win for Manchester United on a day that they really played really poorly. Now that obviously the transfer window is over, and obviously the big talking point for Manchester United is that they have signed Ronaldo back. Sophie, your reaction to Ronaldo going back?
Congratulations. You've signed a 36-year-old who's an amazing player. No disputing it. You can't sit there and say Ronaldo's not a phenomenal football player. He is. Can't deny that. However, they got baited into signing him back. There was no links. There was no topic of discussion about him going back to United. And then all of a sudden, there was interest from City. And United were like, not having that. And bought him 36 mil, not a lot, but 500k a week. 500k a week on a 36-year-old when you didn't need a striker. Your problem wasn't scoring goals. We saw that last season. You had Bruno Fernandes. Your problem wasn't your goal output. It was your goal concessions and your midfield. Your issue with your centre-back and your midfielders. You've got Fred. And in that Wolves game, United fans on the timeline were kicking up going, Fred's not good enough. So why buy a £36 million, nearly retiring player for 500k, £2 million a month?
To be honest, I understand what you're saying, Sophie. However, I do completely understand what you're saying, but a positive for United to take out of that I think the mentality, not just the skill of Ronaldo, but the mentality that he'll bring into the team. He'll stroll into that dressing room. People will definitely be licking his ass. You know what I mean?
I'm not.
And probably rightly so. I think it could well raise the game, and someone of that caliber.
Oh, I am not disputing for 1 second. And when I say Ronaldo is an exceptional player, I mean for all of those things. We could sit here and we could list off the reasons why he's a phenomenal player, why he will forever be a legend of the game. But I don't need to do that because his name speaks for himself. You say Ronaldo and everyone suddenly goes with a mental block of everything he's done ever. You know. Yeah. We know that he's going to go into United and he's going to bring morale up. We know that he's going to be like an extra manager. We know he's going to be the boost. But if you take the dressing room out of it, they've bought a player they didn't need for nostalgia.
100% agree with you. He isn't going to solve their midfield problems.
And if he's happy, if United fans, I understand they are happy about it. I would be if Stevie G and Xabi Alonso and Torres came out and were like, "Oh, we're in our prime, still we're going to come back to Liverpool." I'd be fucking wetting myself. I'd be like a dog in a corner, like made up. I'm not. I'd be buzzing. See, because I'd be fucking buzzing about it, and I'd be the same as them. So I get that because it's a legend of your club that you've idolised and grew up watching and you love. I get it.
Yeah.
But take emotion and everything out of the game and look at it on paper. You haven't addressed your core problem. You've just wasted 36 million. You're baited into it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ronaldo only left, didn't he? Because Messi went to PSG and all the headlines were on Messi. It's the only reason. His best stats when he was at United for 6 years 100%. And then he went to Real Madrid in 2009. For 12 years he plays at Real Madrid and he played brilliant football there. He left Real Madrid and he went to Juventus, and Juventus he didn't do that much at Juventus. He wasn't what you expect. He was still better than most, but he wasn't what you expect the levels of Ronaldo, and that's to be understandable. He's very fit still. He's very, very good.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I argue all the time. You don't hit your 30s and suddenly lose all ability.
Yeah, but Dan, obviously with Ronaldo obviously signing, do you think they should have spent the money on a CDM? Because I think that's the main position they've been lacking this season.
I think Sophie summed it up perfectly. Listen, it's a brilliant signing for Man United. I think he may well be top scorer. He may well get player of the year. And what a booster to give that club. They dreamed of him coming back, didn't it? We used to laugh, didn't he? Because they used to think he's only on loan. And it was like 12 years, but there he is. He's come back. He was only on loan. Brilliant signing. Such like a romantic, nostalgic signing. All them things that we laugh sometimes, but that's what we love in football, so it was brilliant. But they should have prioritised other positions. And not only that, you've got to worry about the sort of the strategy, the financial strategy of a club where they basically just signed him there because they worried Man City were going to sign him. They did that with Alexis Sanchez and got the fingers burned. I don't think it's going to be a bad signing like the Alexis Sanchez one turned out to be. As I say, I think he may well be top, the player of the year this year. But the overall sort of strategy of the club where you're just putting that sort of expenditure on a player just to spite another club because you're worried about them going to your rivals is a bit worrying. But they definitely should have signed strengthened other positions, 100%.
Yeah, Reece says the stats he hit last season is interesting. 0.93 goal contributions per game, 29 league goals. But all I wanted most of all is a CDM, but it's hard to turn down a chance like that.
But it's like it feels a little bit. I want to say the word childish, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to United fans because, as Dan said, it's an amazing sign, and nobody's going to take that away from them. It just feels a little bit childish that you weren't interested in him, and then all of a sudden your rivals, like it's like a boyfriend-girlfriend analogy, isn't it? Like he's your ex. You don't want nothing to do with him, and then this girl that you don't like suddenly starts getting with him, and you're like, nope, and you get back in there. You didn't. You weren't really interested. Your heart's not in it, and it hasn't got long-term potential, has it?
I think he's gone back to Old Trafford to end his career,
which is lovely. But don't overhype it as it's going to solve all your problems like a magic wand because Ronaldo's walked back through your door and put the number 7 shirt on again. It's not going to fix. It's going to help.
Gareth Bale to Tottenham
be a magic
again.
Yeah. On that though, it's interesting that Manchester United have actually been able to change Ronaldo's number to 7 and giving Cavani 21.
I've got no problem with that. I mean, who cares about a bit of red tape? I mean, we're not Man United fans, obviously, but, you want to see Ronaldo in the 7, don't you? It's this whole thing, isn't it?
It's his brand. It's his brand, isn't it? It's his brand.
Realistically, who cares if the FA changed the rules so we can get the number 7?
I don't care.
There are bigger problems in football right now.
Yeah, there is.
It's a nice thing, isn't it?
Players, abuse on social media, ticket laundering, the problems with the club, financial backing. There's a lot of bigger problems than whether one player who was iconically known as CR7 gets a number 7. As long as both parties were happy to swap shirt numbers, it doesn't really fucking matter.
Aye, absolutely. It is definitely a non-story. Fraser says Ronaldo will score about 15 goals. Connor, do you think there was really any genuine interest from Manchester City over Ronaldo? Because I'm going to say this now, the only club I could see him going back to in the Premier League was Manchester United.
I think there was interest there from Manchester City, but I think it was like, how much you want for Ronaldo? 25 million? No, we don't want that. And I think that was it. I think it was just prolonged by the fact that Man City said they were interested and then didn't end the interest. It's like Sophie said perfectly. It's like the fact that United got him done and dusted within, 20 hours is just ridiculous. And look, I cannot wait for Nat Phillips to face Ronaldo for a header. And just Nat Phillips just batter him everywhere. Look, the thing is, it gets the exposure for Manchester United in it, and that's what the Glazers are about. They're about the money, they're about the exposure, they're about everything, and that's just Did you see that apparently their was a growth income and the stock exchange went rapidly up again when they signed Ronaldo? Are we shocked though? That's just Manchester United itself. It's just easy money for them realistically. And look, Ronaldo will do good in the league. He'll get 10, 15 goals, whatever. But it's like, as the rest have said, it's not as a footballing sense and as a forward step, it wasn't the correct move to make because they needed a DM.
Jack, Manchester City. Jack, Manchester City have not been able to strengthen with a striker. Do you think that's going to come back and bite them?
There's been a couple of City fans, but Pep, last couple of seasons, he played with the false nine, and Torres, he started the season off very well. I know he improved last year off the back of that. Grealish was bought with the idea of potentially playing him in a false nine. Mahrez, they've got a lot of talent within that squad, mate, and I think Diaz, Laporte, he's come back into the fold now, so for me, I don't think it'll be an issue due to the sheer quality within that squad, mate. They've got enough quality. Sterling isn't even getting on the pitch half the time this week, the last couple of weeks. So, but they can create a lot of goals. And Bernardo Silva, there was a lot of talk of him going this window, and he come in this week and put in a stellar performance from that midfield area. But, they'll have enough goals, mate, so it's a challenge.
Reese has asked a very good question. Cavani said he was happy to give a question for the panel. Based on the lack of spending by Liverpool in your squad, what sort of impact do you think it will have on your season?
Can I take this one?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be quite quick, actually. I've got one very clear point. People were scared of Liverpool in 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20. Less frightened of us last season, but the beginning of the season was still frightened of us. The only thing I'm going to add to that is we've added 3 valuable members to our squad, a left back, a centre back, and a forward. So we have added a really good option. Do we have the squad depth we would ideally like in a perfect world? No, but it is the same team that absolutely spanked you upside your head 3-4 seasons in a row, back to back Champions League finals, won everything in European football, and then won the league. So I don't think it's going to have a massive impact. The fact that we haven't bought and spent.
I'm gonna have to go, guys. Okay, so see you in a bit.
Dan. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
But we'd all like them to buy something, but it's a business. You can't buy everything like a child. You can't have what you want when you want it, how you want it. So I don't think it's going to have a negative impact. If anything, it's going to kind of push. Well, it would push me, and I imagine the boys to be like, all right, you're doubting us, you're writing us off because we haven't made a big marquee signing. Let's just show you what we're actually worth.
Guys, if you have any questions, then obviously get them in down below. But obviously, I don't know if anyone has obviously seen that today would have been Gerard Houllié's 74th birthday. I think it was a absolutely shock when he passed away. That 2001 season just. Yes, I know people can say it's like a League Cup, an FA Cup, and a UEFA Cup, but obviously growing up and actually watching that, you actually realise how impressive that actually was. Connor, Gerard Houllié was such an iconic figure at Anfield, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, mate. And you say people don't rate that much because of the World Cups. It was at the time it was huge. And in Liverpool's history, it's huge. It's only people now with the FA Cup and the League Cup, with that. But Gerard Houllier, he changed everything with Liverpool. He changed how we play, the morale around the city and everything like that, and has been loved by people of Liverpool. Even when he's left, look at today. I know Cara put something. I know Stevie G put a post on Instagram and so on, and I think even Liverpool put out, of course, when he come back against Roma, probably a bit too soon. Looking back at it, but he will be remembered forever, won't he? And I think everyone just appreciates, the time we had with him as Liverpool manager.
Yeah, Sophie, what are your memories of Gerrard?
Absolute iconic man that I think every Liverpool fan holds really dear. We could sit here and literally list everything that he did for us, but his status and his legendary attitude speaks for itself, isn't it? He was paramount to Liverpool, and he means a lot to people, and especially for old people. Like I say, old people, as people older than me, like in their 30s, who got to see more of him than I did. He was very impactful to them, and you'll always feel that loss, won't you? That he's no longer here.
Yeah. It's just that there's a moment. I think it was the Roma game, Jack, when we beat them. I think it was 5-2. There was one moment where I think Salah scored, and actually Gerard Houlier's actual face was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
He was that kind of person. He was always at games. He was always at games, and it was just really, really sad when obviously the news came that he obviously passed away. But what were your memories of Gerrard?
Yeah, you only have to look at how revered he was, especially in French football and in English football. And given, as the panel already alluded to there, we weren't that historically winning trophies. He brought that winning atmosphere back to the football club, and obviously when he come back on the bus, it was great to see.
Yeah.
And then we had to wait a couple of years, obviously, to 2005 and then 2006 for the couple of trophies after that as well. But you can really tell from how much an individual has an impact on world football or just in general. It's how the whole people around him react. And he has a lot of respect from obviously like Fergie and obviously Wenger, and he very much revolutionised certain aspects of English football at that given time as well.
Yeah, and Paul, I know you were a little bit too young to remember Gerrard, but have you managed to watch any of those finals back? Obviously the Birmingham City, the Arsenal, and the Alaves.
Watched a good documentary on LFC TV recently about 2001 season, and I could be 15 and I could be 45, but he's an icon. He is an iconic manager, especially in the history of Liverpool. FA Cup and Europa League. It was the UEFA Cup back then, but brought a lot of success for Liverpool. Obviously, I can't say. I can't give my judgments on how we were back then, because obviously I wasn't born. But I mean, from stories and watching things and reading things, it looked like a really fun season to be part of. And the likes of Istanbul, I wish I was there for Istanbul. But
yeah,
I'm just glad I've been able to see the recent success that we've had, and I haven't had to wait as long for the league title as maybe.
Yeah, aye, that is very, very
by
true.
the way, I just mean,
yeah,
Fine.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm an old fart, me now, lad. Anyway,
Yeah. Call yourself up. Call you all that calls me all by proxy. Not having that.
You do know that I'm the eldest eldest panelist on this panel.
All right, Grandad, calm down. I'll get you walking.
Trying to slip us, Doug.
Yeah, we're getting
But guys, it's been another fantastic episode of the Friday LFC Focus. A big thank you to my panelists, Jack, Mack, Connor, Sophie, Dan, and special guest Paul Connor, aspiring young journalist. Go and check the article I've left in the description down below. It's one of the articles that Paul has written. But Paul, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for inviting me on. I've really enjoyed it.
I am very glad you've enjoyed it. Jack, Mac, you got anything coming up on your channel soon?
Yeah, I might do. Once the dust is settled the last couple of days, I might do a show tonight. Talk about it, Eds. But thank you for having me on. Mate, it was lovely to meet Paul and usual panel guests as well, Reds. But everyone, have a lovely rest of your night and try and enjoy your weekends. Absolutely.
Connor, you got anything coming up on the Kop Council?
Got a few things. I got it's non-Liverpool. It's about Arsenal coming up this week. So, yeah.
Oh, interesting. And yes, whenever you ask me to come back on the Kop Council, I will definitely come back on the Kop. I have not been on the Kop Council for a while.
It's weird. We had like a big stage where it was just us two, and then like we've had this big period where it's just we haven't been on.
I can't tell you.
I've been on it at all, but Connor doesn't clearly like me enough.
You have been on.
I've never been on yours.
It's unbelievable that Connor.
Only for the season review video. That's it.
Even Doug, we'll have a conversation after. Wait, what?
It's all right. So you never asked me no more as well.
You've not asked me on yours either. Don't get me started.
Yeah, there we go.
I didn't even be doing content.
I had you on mine. You didn't want me on yours. I remember that.
Yeah. Also, guys. Yeah. Obviously. Speaking of, obviously, Sophie, I was on Yanks of the Kop last night with homie. I'm still very, very thankful for him to ask me to be his co-host for last night. But Sophie, anything coming up in the Yanks this week?
No, not this. We'll be back on Friday for our pre-match against Leeds. But hopefully we might be rejoined by some of the Yanks, which would be nice to have the actual.
That would be nice. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. But yeah, obviously, guys, I know it is an international break, and obviously, but we will be back next week. We will be back next Friday. We will be discussing the Leeds United game, and also we will be looking ahead to the first Champions League game at Anfield against AC Milan. But until then, it is goodbye from all of us. Have a lovely weekend, and we'll see you next Friday. Take care. Bye bye for now. You'll never walk alone. Cheers, Reds. Oops.